of Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. One of Taiwan's biggest public holidays is coming up. Organizers have just given the first look at what this year's National Day celebrations will look like. Joyce Sun reports.
Taiwan has just revealed the rundown to this year's National Day event. It's one of the country's biggest public holidays, and people tune in and even show up outside of the presidential office to catch a glimpse of massive parades and the fanfare here in Taipei. Now, one of the main events is the president's speech, and this is President Tsai Ing-wen's last chance to address the country on the occasion. She's reaching her two-term limit and is on her way out of office. Now, normally a section of the speech is dedicated to talking about Taiwan's relationship with China, which, of course, is a tense one. Now, this year's event has already seen some political tension. Just a few days ago, a former president has said that he will be boycotting this year's event, saying that he does not agree with the branding of Taiwan National Day, alluding to the absence of Taiwan's official name, the Republic of China. Now, the head of the planning committee has just addressed this and seemingly hit out at former President Ma Ying-jeou, saying that the naming convention is actually not new and is to the benefit of international viewers who might not know the difference.
你不要打自己的脸，好不好？那国际大家都知道，有台湾分不清楚中华民国啊。
But after making the comments, the organizers moved swiftly on, choosing to focus on this year's performance highlights for people to look forward to. That includes international support by way of marching bands. Notably, Japan will be making a return to join in this year's event, and for the first time ever, so will the U.S. The U.S. will be represented by the University of California, Los Angeles. The Bruin Marching Band will be showcasing their sound here in Taipei, and it's clear that the planning committee is eager to make sure that the big day runs smoothly without a hitch. Joseph Wu and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Meanwhile, celebrations have already begun at Taiwan's representative office in the U.S. Capitol. Our reporter Jaime Ocon was at the event in Washington, D.C.
Happy 112th National Day of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Cheers!
The party is on here at the Twin Oaks Estate just outside of downtown Washington, D.C. Now, Taiwan is celebrating its National Day just a bit earlier, as its actual day is on October 10th. I spoke to some of the organizers, and they said the reason for that is to not take away from any of the celebrations going on in Taiwan. Speaking at the event were several U.S. and Taiwan officials, including Taiwan's representative to the U.S., Xiaobi Kim. She reminded people here of the importance of Taiwan to the international community.
Over the past few years, Taiwan has shown the international community that even while staring down threats and harassment, we will neither yield nor provoke. If Taiwan is secure, the world will also be more secure.
But speeches were kept short so that partygoers could get to the abundance of Taiwanese food and drinks available here. With the celebration just a few days away back in Taiwan, this event is a chance to bring those festivities and a little bit of Taiwan here to the U.S. Devin Tai, Eric Tai, and Jaime Ocon in Washington, D.C. for TaiwanPlus.
Inflation in Taiwan was close to 3% in September, an 8-month high. Government figures show the Consumer Price Index, a key measure of inflation, was up 2.93% year-on-year. Food prices rose the most at close to 5% as typhoon weather in September forced up the price of fresh produce. Taiwan's cabinet says it wants to change housing laws to help people get subsidies on their rent. The government expanded subsidies this year to help renters in a country where house prices are among the highest in the world. But some people cannot claim the subsidies because their landlords are not reporting their rent for tax. Under the cabinet's changes, if landlords start declaring rent, they won't be taxed on previous income. The plan has already been criticized by one group of campaigners. They say it fails to address Taiwan's fundamental need for income tax reform. Bringing energy from the ground to the cloud, Taiwan is exploring new ways to reach its net zero and renewable energy goals. One possible solution is virtual power plants. Jeremy Olivier explains.
With a population of over 23 million and one of the world's biggest tech manufacturing industries, Taiwan has some serious energy needs. But it's having more and more trouble meeting that growing demand for power. The country is extremely reliant on energy imports, its grid is faltering, and it only has a limited amount of land to keep building power stations and wind and solar farms. In the search to help overcome these energy woes, one solution being put forward is virtual power plants, or VPPs. At a recent forum hosted by the Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI, energy experts discuss how these systems could help plug up the power supply gap.
它事实上是整合的不同的分散能源，包括呢你的发电就是再生能源，或是储电storage， 那也有就是虚量反应，也就是说你可以减少用电。其实减少用电就好像增加发电，事实上是一样的。
So how exactly does a VPP work? Compared with large physical plants, virtual power stations are cloud-based networks of smaller energy-producing or storage devices. Think things like wind farms, batteries, even electric vehicles. These components are connected and remotely controlled by Internet of Things technology. The energy they produce is pooled together and sent out to the electric grid. Besides reducing consumption, proponents say this kind of system could increase renewable energy usage and secure the power supply in places that are vulnerable to natural disasters, like Taiwan. It's also touted as a sustainable way of producing electricity.
以它参加的容量来看的话，大概就等同于我们现在一部核能机组。那未来这个量会继续再增加，一个厂商它进来，那实际上的量更多。
And the idea has been gaining ground. In 2020, the Taiwan Power Company partnered with energy service provider NLX to launch the country's first VPP. Since then, numerous businesses have joined it, including electric scooter maker Gogoro, which dedicated over 1,000 of its battery charging stations to the network. But not all are keen on the idea. Yang Jiafa, an energy specialist who supports the use of nuclear power, says a major issue is the inconsistent output of renewable energy.
台湾因为现在越来越多的再生能源，变成我们需要使用大量的储能，或是说类似这种虚拟电厂好了来去平衡它，因为再生能源的供需很难控制的，就是它不是一个可以受控制的能源。
Still, there seems to be more enthusiasm than skepticism for VPPs. And as Taiwan continues to look for ways to achieve its goal of net zero emissions by 2050, these networks may become one of the major tools in its toolkit. Chris Ma and Jeremy Olivier for TaiwanPlus.
With sea levels rising and more extreme weather events due to climate change, Taiwan is facing the consequences of coastal erosion. Laura Stewart has more.
Bamboo walls, cement barriers, and gauze matting. These coastal defences were placed on this beach in Taiwan's southern city of Tainan about 10 years ago. But they're no longer working. Rising sea levels have led to the beaches being washed away. There used to be a forest behind this beach, planted as another sea defence. But high tides and huge waves brought by the recent typhoon Haikui have uprooted and killed the trees.
在3年前我们来到这的时候，这里还很多树林，然后我们拍海岸退缩，然后防风林被海水侵蚀倒掉的样子。
Scientists say sea levels are rising faster than people can prepare for.
台湾周遭海平面上升0.5公尺到很极端的1.2公尺，就是我们包含台北或高雄，比它就在海边，或台南就在海边，海边的相邻的这些位置的影响会比较大。
And people nearby are living with the consequences. Strong winds from the south have made sea surges a regular occurrence, and with less effective coastal defences, flooding has become more common. This neighbourhood in the southern city of Kaohsiung is by a canal. In August, seawater burst the banks and came up through drains near people's homes. Wary residents now keep their own defences in place. And despite efforts to restore the coastlines using quarried land, maintaining robust coastal defences will have to be prioritised as Taiwan sees more extreme weather in the face of climate change. Eason Chen and Laurel Stewart for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.